Throw some colors on the screen and paint me black and white. I wanna see a thief in a gunfight or a heroine wounded in love. You can keep her lighted by an old flame left to frame, so I can read the feeling on her face, half in shadow, and know I felt that too. In danger and in love, you've got the dreams I was dreaming of, and I've got 2 hours to pretend. So I'll watch a movie with a friend. Time's running sideways, and reality's gotta meet me halfway. So I'll meet it here again. Here's the Trading Movies Podcast with friends.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Mari Robeson, who is an author and filmmaker that has a new short coming out called The Mystery of Eve on October 31st at 9/11 Pacific Time, which is a stop-motion animation movie that is a prelude to a novel called ALCHEMY that is releasing also by Mari Robeson on November 11th. You can find her at youtube.com/Mari Robeson, that's MariRobeson, and all of her stuff at marirobeson.com. Mari, welcome to the show.
I love that. Thank you.
So this was, I'm really excited for doing this. So, you know, when I get new followers on TikTok, you know, I try and like check out like a handful or like click on the pages because honestly, most of who I follow on TikTok are like artists and people, like creative types. So I think I saw your account and I just saw a bunch of stop motion stuff like after you had followed me. I was like, this is cool. And so followed back, and it's been neat watching the progress. And yeah, I just wanted to I just wanted to promote and talk about this because I've been watching a lot of stop motion animation this year from like Jan Svankmajer and some other people. So I'm just kind of curious, like, how did, you know, I had said in the intro that you're writing a novel. How did this like come about? How did you decide to do like did the stop motion come as a chicken? I don't know if that's a chicken or egg question. Did the stop motion come first or the novel, like the desire to do it?
That's such an excellent question. Actually, it all kind of started 5 years ago with, I was going through a lot of things. We all were, you know, that lockdown time.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I was doing a series of paintings that I was going to have an exhibit in San Francisco. And whenever I do paintings, there's always a story that kind of is behind it. And because I used to have a career building houses and designing houses, I like to do room interiors. So I was doing all these rooms and painting all these different rooms, and the story was kind of coming alive to me. And I was also going through different things in my life that were very, very challenging. It started coming as a screenplay. I saw it as a stop motion film, and I had never done anything like that before in my life. I've been an artist and a writer my whole life, but I've never done stop motion. But I've always loved the art form because there's nothing like taking a painting and then having it come to life in front of you. It's quite magical. So anyway, I wrote the screenplay for ALCHEMY, which was this long screenplay. I thought it was great. You know, that first draft, you think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And then I actually talked to some pretty impressive people in the stop motion community. I just reached out to them, and everybody was so friendly and spoke with me and said, you know, you should probably develop it. And the reason why I didn't develop it, and you know this yourself as a filmmaker, was I was under the impression like I could never be a director. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but I was like, I'm just going to give this story to somebody and the director is going to change it and do all kinds of things to it. But they were like, no, it's your story. You should develop this a little bit more. And I was like, oh, I'm so scared, you know, but I whatever, it happened. In 2022, I had the art exhibit in San Francisco. And so all these paintings had this story, and I would talk to people and they're like, oh, is it a book? Is it a book? And I was like, no, I don't want to write a book. It's a screenplay. And they're like, oh, I would love a book like that. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I heard it so many times. It was like the universe was just going, come on, write the book. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to write a book. So then I came back, and I'm so glad I did, because then I just dove into writing a novel, which is extremely different than writing a screenplay,
Mm.
totally different points of view. So I had to like learn, to kind of twist my brain to think differently. But I've
Mm-hmm.
always been a writer, so it was a fun challenge to do. So I wrote the book, and then that really developed. And having the original screenplay was so helpful because it was like a skeleton. It had
Mm.
the whole structure, the 3-act structure and everything. So it was very helpful to then write the novel and fill in all those little pieces. And then kind of in the middle of all of this, I was illustrating, and I got really obsessed with like sculpting the characters, and I use them to reference them when I'm illustrating it because I knew it would be an illustrated novel. And I just started playing around with stop motion, and I got really into it. Like the first time I saw something come to life, I was like, "Uh-oh,
Mm.
this is like really fun," And then my daughter had to say to me, she's in the industry, she had to say, "Mom, just make a film." And I was like, okay, I think I'll make a film. And because I really want to see my book as a film, as a stop motion film, I thought, you know what, I need to make a film. I need to
Mm.
know what it's like to do pre-production, post-production, do storyboards, deal with, After Effects and all the things that come with making a film, which is basically why I made this film. I was teaching myself how to make a film. And
Mm.
um yeah, and that's what came out of it was this story. So I picked a character that is a side character in the novel. And the reason why I picked her was because she and her family are the ones that create the house where the story will take place.
Mm-hmm.
My protagonist shows up there 60 years later, and um, I thought it would give some really kind of fun context. And then I kind of took it a little bit further, and I thought, I'm going to put all these like little Easter eggs in here, all these
Mm.
little clues. So when you read the book, I would actually read the book and then watch the film myself
Mm.
because unless you're somebody who likes to flip to the end of the book and know how it ends, then watch the
Mm.
film first because there's all these little things that aren't explained in the book. But you'll see them in the film. It's kind of like I Spy. Like you have to really look and you'll find
Mm.
different things that I kind of planted in there. So
That's very cool.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
totally
really
railed on your
no,
question.
no, not at all. I honestly just like I've watched it twice. I watched it last night and then I watched it this afternoon before the interview again, and I was just honestly kind of mesmerized by it.
Wow.
Just the whole thing. I love stop motion so much, and yeah, that's fascinating. I would thought like in my head I was like, oh, I wonder if she did this as like a. I had this narrative in my head where I was like, I wonder if she's like, sort of into because it's I think that you described it as like a fairy tale novel. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's
it's a fairy tale. All
so,
anthropomorphic characters, and yeah, it's very Alice in Wonderland meets Coraline, Labyrinth, Secret Garden.
gotcha. Yeah, so I was wondering. It's interesting that you said like you'd almost you might encourage people to like read the novel first and then watch the book or watch the
Or
book
watch
and
it
then watch
film.
the film. Um, because I was wondering like I do follow a fair amount of authors and some of them like they struggle. I notice like promotionally, like to sort of like to stand out in the sea of like
Yeah.
novels of like
Me.
especially like more fantasy stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. So I was curious like it's interesting when I say like the narrative in my head was like, oh, I wonder if she sort of wrote the book or like was wanting to write a book and was like, how do I stand out? But it seems like it just kind of it's fascinating that the
Yeah.
sort of the film idea came first. I just thought that was like in my
Yeah.
head I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this might be this. I was like, what a novel marketing device. Maybe I'm just thinking too capitalistically or whatever, but I was like, what a novel marketing device. But
Because if
that's
that
so
were
cool. It's
true,
like,
I'd have millions of followers, and I certainly don't.
yeah, hey, I hear you. It's hard out there to grow. That I honestly, yeah, there's so many people like who are doing stuff like you do and otherwise that I see on there that I'm like, they should really have so many more followers. Not that like, I just don't know how the stuff like this doesn't have like a million views. When I see
Oh.
like your behind the scenes stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I'm starting to post, and I will after the film comes out, I'm going to really post, like, I mean, you're already seeing a little snippet of the house behind me,
Mhm.
but like how I actually built it. Like I actually designed the house is functional, the rooms. I used to design houses, so
You were an
I
interior
had
designer,
CAD
right?
drawings and like
Yeah.
I built that house, you know. So and I just taught myself how to do everything. God bless YouTube University.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, I didn't. I did not do it with that in mind, but I certainly hope that it finds it. This story is so empowering. It's not just this fantastical. It is like you can watch it from the perspective of like this is a really fantastical, fun movie, but it
Hmm.
really hits on the notes of like grief and death and shadow work. And there's all these different things because the house actually represents us. Carl
Hmm.
Jung, you know, would talk about how different rooms are different aspects of ourselves. And the character, my protagonist, has to learn how to face her shadows so she can unlock those rooms.
Hmm.
And in that whole process, you know, there's other souls that are trapped there, which um, it has the premise of when you do the healing work for yourself, it kind of reflects out to all the people around you.
Hmm.
And then they can go, oh, maybe I can do that for myself too. So, I mean, the the book is very special to my
Yeah.
heart. So I hope
Yeah.
it finds the right people. See,
Very
I get
that's
choked up
very
on it.
now Voyager. One of my movies I talked about on my channel. I don't know if you've seen that one from like 1940 something. The movie with Betty Davis and Paul Henreid and Claude Rains. Betty Davis is like a daughter of a narcissistic mother who's like
Oh, well, there you
very
go.
she's very shut in and sheltered, and like she has to like go to, I think she goes to like, I think they call it an asylum or like a sanitarium, but it's not
Mhm.
like, the way they typically portrayed it back then. It's like
Right,
she
right.
basically just goes to therapy, but then minors to spoiler, she like meets a 13-year-old girl there, and she like basically has to take care of the girl, which is in effect taking care of her inner child because the
Mhm.
girl is how she was at that age. And
Exactly.
so, but then to your point about like helping, like how that sort of reflects on others after like the healing or whatever, like she has to that's like sort of like kind of the thing that her therapist tells her is like, now that you can do this, it's like this isn't just ending, it's like now you sort of reflect back onto others. So
Right, right.
it's a
Yeah, and
real
and
tearjerker.
so that's such a beautiful. I'm gonna have to watch it. I love Betty Davis. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you'll love that movie.
I'm gonna have to watch
Warning, I
it.
just start crying like halfway through it. It's so
I
beautiful.
cried the whole time I was writing my book, so
Yeah.
it was very therapeutic for sure. I mean, I wrote the book after I had like my sister passed away, and my mom passed away, then my dad passed away. I mean, it was like a lot to go through, and art and writing is such a way to process, to help
Mm,
process. And filmmaking, like I've now like fallen madly in love with making films because it's just another tool to tell stories, and we want to see ourselves in those stories. And it's like if you live long enough, you know, you're going to have something that's going to be challenging for you,
mhm.
and that's why, uh, I want to make stories about that and
Yeah.
write stories about that.
It's like a cathartic thing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
incredibly cathartic. And it's emotional for me. This has been a journey of like a 5-year journey I've been working through. I mean, I didn't decide to make this little short film until maybe 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
But I had things I had been building, and I was like, I didn't even know why I was building them. I was just like, I'm
Mhm.
just going to build the house. I want to, flesh out the story all the way. And so yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Very
That's fascinating. It's like, did you find like you said you've been like an artist and a writer your whole life. I
cathartic.
noticed when you talked about being a designer that you on your website when I was just sort of snooping before the interview, trying to be a minor professional interviewer, right? But the to the extent I can, that you were an interior designer and worked with a lot of fabric and wallpaper
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
years and years. So I
Yeah.
guess I kind of two questions about that. Like it, one thing I really loved was just the detail on, I'm such a nerd and dork for backgrounds, and I'm
Oh,
just looking at like there's shots in here where I see like this one I'm particularly looking at. I wish I could
from
share
the film?
yeah, from the film, which I could
Oh,
share my screen, where you might know this by heart. It's like where there's vines and we're looking through, and you have the it's like a purple purple window, and then or I'm sorry, the window is like yellow. I might actually just share my screen. Screw it.
Yeah, it's when Mrs. Burke is walking through the window. Is that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
I think
Yeah, there's a
so.
whole room
I'm so
interior
bad with character names that
behind
like,
that. Yes.
but
So,
this one right here,
mhm.
this is like, this just reminded me of like
Yeah.
just on a technical level,
Chippendale
Russell Meddy.
chair. Yeah.
But like the detail on all this, like in like the curtains and everything, like is that something like I guess like all you said you like included a lot of like Easter eggs like in the background, but is like sort of the level of detail, I guess, like did your work as an interior designer, like constructing this, did that inform a lot of like the way you set up the house and everything?
Oh my gosh, huge. Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah, and you'll see it in the book because I illustrate a lot of things. The wallpaper the house is sentient. So,
Mm.
The wallpaper has eyes and, I mean, it's this particular room, this is before my protagonist in my book shows up. So this is when the house is originally constructed. So it looks
Mhm.
different because this house was built in 1850. And it changes when the alchemist arrives and she's basically drawing the protagonist back to the house. So the house becomes kind of taken over by somebody else, although the original owners stay there until you have to read the book. I mean, it's complicated.
I'm
It's a
looking,
big
yeah.
story world.
How long is the book, out of curiosity?
It's about 240 pages.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's about 65,000 words.
Very cool. There is a shot, and I might, if you give me a second, I'll edit out the silence in this, but I kind of
But
want to show you
to
there.
your question of being an interior designer, one of my favorite things to always do was be able to draw the rooms for my clients. Like they would be like, I'm like, okay, we're going to move the window over there and we'll put the fireplace over there. And they just like look at me like, what are you talking about? And then I'd be like, well, let me draw. And then I could just sketch it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I want that. And then they'd always want to keep the drawings and stuff. And so, yeah, I painted room interiors for years. So this whole story began with the room interiors. Was what better thing for it to take place inside a very magical Gothic mansion.
There are a couple shots in here, so I'll might edit this out, but I wanted to show you. I don't know if you're a bit. This one specifically reminded me of one shot, but really it's all over this movie. Let me see if I can actually pull this up. But if you've seen the movie All That Heaven Allows, this shot right here, which is one of my favorite shot movies. It's this old Douglas Sirk movie shot by Russell Meddy. But the way you had like. My favorite thing about him, he gets these beautiful purples and yellows or blues and yellows.
Lighting.
Yeah, so I just noticed that like this, and then going back to your, it's like, you have the blue or purple outside, and then like sort of the very beautiful yellow tones inside with like, even just the way like, he also has like the curtains and everything else in there, and the person sort of like looking lonely out. Yeah. I just really.
And don't we love looking in a window? I mean, who doesn't like to look in a window and see what's going on in there?
Yeah.
I mean,
doesn't love
it's
to
just curiosity to like this beautiful home and what does it look like on the inside? Is it crazy and who are the people that live there? It's just, it just invites such curiosity. That is shot on a down shooter. So I shot the film in a couple different ways. So, I did it straight up, and then I have a down shooter where I can direct light, and I used a filter. I had like a gel to get that glow that you see right there.
Very cool.
I learned so many things doing this film. Like I learned that I'm really not great at lighting and patience. I mean, it's such a you need tenacity. You need to really be patient to do stop motion. And hopefully one day, I can get the funding so that I can make a film and hire people who are actually really amazing at this stuff. I have the vision, but like I did a lot of paper cut because that's what I had available to me. I didn't, I had watercolor paper. And I like the look of paper cut, but of course, if I were to do like a feature film, I would want it to be a 3-dimensional puppet
like
that I could work
clay
with.
and other stuff.
I never really dabbled in clay, but I did make the
like paper
character out of
mache or
paper
something?
mache. You see her in the end as 3-dimensional. Actually, I'll show you.
Yeah, you can try and follow.
That's
I love
her.
this part. Yeah, the mixed
Yeah.
media that you did here too. I mean, I just love. Yeah, I mean, this is just so. And then yeah, the lighting on this also. Yeah, tremendous.
Thank you. I have to tell you, I had a phenomenal person work with me on this. Douglas Edward, he did the music. It's all original music. I completely fangirled on him like 4 or 5 years ago when I started this, and he was so gracious, but he also does editing. So I would edit, like do After Effects and put the whole thing kind of in iMovie. And then I don't even know how this man did this, but he would take all of these um, still shots, 24 frames per second.
Hmm.
And he would put them in Premiere and make sure that it all really looked good. So um, that was definitely a tag team on the editing. He really put his magic into that. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just everything about this. I mean, I just like from the minute, even like this, I was interested the way like even like this shot is it seemed like you were doing like with a camera sort of dropping
That I
down, like
shot
not
with my iPhone.
with your iPhone. Okay, wow, that's so cool. It looks so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I have a new iPhone.
Shout out, it's
Um,
now an Apple
that
commercial.
and
Shout out to
that
iPhone.
is so hard to do and not shake your hand when you're doing
Yeah.
something like that. And like, real filming, obviously they have equipment and that they
Hmm.
can gauge and stuff, but I didn't have those things. So this is my big message to people who want to make a film who don't have all the tools. Like, just make the film because you'll figure it out. And I just, I probably did that 20 times to get one that wasn't
Oh
totally
yeah.
shaking. But
There's things that you can do just as a sort of field nerd. I use DaVinci to edit my stuff because I bought a Blackmagic cinema camera and it
mm,
came with that. And
I don't know.
there's actually on my film I ended up doing a lot of there's like a digital stabilization that you can do there. So even with this type of footage, there's just a easy little button that you can kind of hit stabilize, and like so if you're dropping down your camera, it makes this like you get a little bit more room. It'll sort of like crop out a little bit of the image, but functionally it doesn't really matter, especially if you're shooting in very high quality than like going to
Right.
1080p or
There's a
something. But
stabilize on the iPhone, but it's not like what you're talking about.
mm,
It's you know, also you're talking about DaVinci Resolve. There's so many programs. Like I would
mhm.
taught myself After Effects doing this, and believe me, I was so overwhelmed because I shot it in Dragon Frame, which is its own software, and then I edited in After Effects, and then um I was going to do the premiere part, but I was like, this is overwhelming. I'm trying to finish a book at the same time and edit all of these different clips and things. And that's when Douglas like really came in. But the next time I make a film, I definitely want to dive
Mm.
into all of that, where I
Yeah.
won't have like, oh, and you have to finish a novel right now on top of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, doing a movie and a novel at the same time that's
I don't, what
wild.
was I thinking? And like they both, it was crazy. I don't even what I wasn't thinking. That's the thing.
I mean, it turned out I'm super excited to read the novel now because I'm very primed by reading this. Like just it's like the level of care that you put into this, and that's not even knowing the Easter eggs and everything, but like the level
Yeah,
of care and artistry. Like I'm just excited to correspondingly see like a novel that has that same sort of love, I guess, put into it.
total love. It
It's
was a
yeah.
huge labor of love. And the book, I love the book so much. I really hope that it gets into the world. And
Mm,
it will. I think that we are attracted to things that we're seeking. What Rumi says, what you're seeking is seeking you. So, like you said, I'm surprised this doesn't have more views and things like that. And to me, I don't really I'm not too concerned about that because I
mhm.
know that it will land in the right hands. Who
Yeah.
needs it, who needs to read it at the time.
Yeah.
Plus, through the whole project, you struggle as an artist, like, is this stupid? Am I wasting my time? Should I be like doing something more important with my life? And I'm asked that to myself probably on a daily basis. And my husband would just say, it's a process. You're just building something, you're building something. And it is a challenge to be an artist because it's a very solo job that you're doing. Filmmaker is collaborative, which is
Mhm.
exciting. But this was a very solo project, and I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Are you planning to display it? I'd be curious about because when you said like, when you said just now about like I don't remember exactly what you said, but the feeling I like you said like not necessarily concerned about the views. Like one of the things when I did my film, we rented a theater and I screened it at like a local theater and for like, friends, family, and just made it open to the public and, got a few people who came in there. So we ended up having like a decent crowd. It was like 45, 50 people.
yeah,
And that enough made it worth it. I was like, this is so just seeing the
1,000,
thing in
yeah.
the theater. So be curious, like you said, you've done like museum shows and like with your paintings and other stuff. And then obviously as an interior designer, I imagine like you got to see like the practical sort of like manifestation of your work. So be curious, like, are you planning to do a screening here or like do you have like it seems I've always felt that a novel seems different because it's not like you can almost like see people reading it, or like this released on YouTube, it's like you get the likes and the views or like whatever else, but you're not necessarily having that same experience. So are you planning on doing anything like physical with this, or I guess
I
not physical,
am.
but
I
like in
mean,
the real world?
actually next weekend I'm doing just like a little private screening party for my family, and my family's actually I like recruited all my kids are in this. I
So
mean,
cool.
my daughter who like said, "Mom, you should make a movie." I'm like, "Oh, well, guess what? You're gonna do it then.
Yeah,
That's your voice." And
be
I mean,
careful what you say.
exactly. And it was so fun because recording with those guys, I literally have like the 5 second conversation where what they're talking, and then I have like an hour of just giggles,
Hmm.
just like laughing, and it was really a fun thing. So yeah, we are going to do just a little screening for um, everybody that was involved with the project, but I don't know. I'm trying to finish the book, so I can't like handle too many things, too many plates
Hmm.
spinning at the same time is
Oh yeah.
a bit overwhelming, and I want to get the book done and make it really special and beautiful and feel really good about it. So it's going to live on YouTube, and I think also I mention it in the book too. So whenever it'll be there for you whenever you want to go there, and it's free and anybody can see it, and um yeah. I
That's
mean, it would
awesome.
be fun. I did apply to a couple of festivals and I didn't get in.
Same.
And then I realized
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess I don't have Tom Cruise in it. So
That's crazy. I don't understand the whole film festival circuit is still like a black box to me. I think I applied to 14 and I got into 2 in Slovakia, I think, which
yeah,
later made me
it's a
happy
number
because like
game.
well that was before I watched like Jan Svankmajer and like all the great Czechoslovakian and Czech and Slovak like filmmakers. So look now I'm like super happy about that because I'm like having now seen Jan Svankmajer, who's for the audience if you haven't seen him, one of the all-time great stop motion people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I
maybe
know.
maybe
Yeah.
the greatest.
Yeah,
And,
maybe
and
the greatest.
Carl Zeman.
I don't know,
Um,
like
yeah,
what is her name? It's like Redinger.
was
That
it Lottie
no,
Reininger?
yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
She's a huge influence on me for
I
sure.
see. I don't even know her. So now, thank you for telling me that. So
Oh my
that's
gosh, that's a rabbit hole you'll enjoy going down.
that's super exciting. Yeah, I'm looking at her
Yeah,
now. That's tremendous.
yeah.
Now I
She
feel bad. I
was
mean,
like
yeah, that's
one of the first people to do stop motion, and she did it all with this hand cut paper silhouettes. Oh, they're just gorgeous.
oh,
Really,
I'm
really
so
pretty.
excited. I'm just looking. I'm looking at this now. This looks so cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy you.
Yeah, did a Cinderella I see and Adventures of Prince Ahmed.
Yes, that's
That's
kind of
really cool.
her famous one. Um, well, obviously, a lot of things are now gone, unfortunately, but
Hmm.
because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So in
so
terms of like influences on stop motion, like you said, you've always loved stop motion. We said Svankmajer and Lottie Reininger. Um, I'm trying to think of in Carol Zeman, like who were there like particular influences that you looked at filmmaking wise? Maybe Wes Anderson, I think, is probably the big, and Tim Burton, like are probably the 2 main ones working today, right?
mhm,
I
yeah.
think those 2.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Mm.
I mean, I definitely love that. But I also went down to, kind of the old school. I mean, remember growing up with those like Christmas movies that were all stop motion, and gosh, what else were the other influences that I had? I mean, she was a huge one for me, but
Yeah.
also Monty Python was a huge influence.
Oh gosh, yeah. How could I forget Terry
I love,
Gilliam?
I love the Monty Python was great, and I'm trying to think of the
He had my favorite movie as a kid, Time Bandits,
Time
which I don't
Bandit.
think has any stop motion. If you haven't, if you just vibes wise, you'll love it.
Oh, okay. I will have
It's
to.
it
Well,
Yeah, it's a weird story. It was produced by George Harrison, the Beatles guy,
huh.
who gave him the money to do it because he just liked Terry Gilliam. He liked Monty Python so much that, it was after the Beatles. He was like, "Yeah, I'll give you money to do this," and he did like a song for it. And it's like six little people kidnap a kid. They steal a map of the universe from God, and they kidnap a kid, and they go through time robbing people. So it's very fairy tale, and like as Monty Python, John Cleese plays Robin Hood, and I think Michael Palin also helped write it, and all those guys are in
Oh,
there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's a lot of fun. Ian Holm plays Napoleon, before and he's just he's complaining about being short. It's like a very silly movie. Also very anti. It's fascinating in the way now you're getting my brain because we were talking about AI before the interview and all this stuff like. Sort of evil in there is like basically a representation of technology in the movie, and
Yeah.
he's just obsessed with technology and everything else. So it's even more relevant than ever. I think they just made a new show about it, but I haven't seen it.
You know what I was going to say earlier when I kind of went on that ramble and you were just kind of brought up the whole AI thing.
Sure.
And we were talking about influencers and having like, you know, I mean, obviously you create something, you spend 5 years working on something, you want someone to see it, but you have that whole joy of the actual creation. And that's the part that that's the disconnect I have with AI. It's like, you can type in a prompt and like, there's the video. It's like, well, no, what was the fun in that? Like
Yeah.
there was nothing fun about that. Like the actual sitting and sculpting and painting and getting glue all over your hands and spilling water all over the studio. Like those kind of moments, like in the moment, they're frustrating, but they're like this creative process. Like you are
Yeah.
in the creative flow of it. And I don't want to hand that over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. I love being on a film set of the pressure of it. I love like
Yeah.
I I wanted to be ethical about it and like when I made mine and like pay the actors and stuff what I could, but like so there was also like an economic pressure, and had like rented a couple houses, like filming locations to do it, and yeah, just like the pressure that it reminded me of like playing hockey or sports as a kid, like because I was like, oh, I got to do everything in 5 hours, like, and, then it's like, yeah, not having that, it's like a feeling that I like, it's just sort of like the like, how am I going to do this shot? Something went wrong, the light won't work, the extension cord's not long enough, like, this thing is out of battery.
Yeah, it's the problem solving. Like we love the challenge of it. And it's like it's making us think, it's making us stretch. And I mean, for me as a writer is writing, painting is painting, but now taking it and making this three-dimensional thing, and I've got to add lighting, and I've got to like figure out how do I do water and make it look like she's falling through water, and like
Oh
there
yeah.
wasn't really much stuff about that, and it was so challenging, and I loved every second of it because then
Yeah,
you figure it out, and
yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
I figured it out. Yeah.
It's really, yeah, I really just I watched it twice. I'm gonna watch it a third time, and I'll definitely I'm gonna try and attend the premiere and everything, but
I hope so. Otherwise, it'll just be me and my two cats. So,
I made sure and thanked my cats in my short film, so they're an important part of the
I
creative
love
process,
that.
right?
You're such a better person than I am.
They're vital,
They are vital. Yeah. What is your film about?
Mine is about AI
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is actually. It is. That's part of the. So, mine will be coming out maybe around. No, maybe not this month. Probably next month. About relationships in AI and AI. I'm always terrible at describing.
I
I'm
know.
like the worst. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate
No.
that.
It's not it's not your fault. Like even if you gave me 30 minutes, I wouldn't be any better than I am now. It's the plot is basically in a future world where people can create their own AI boyfriends and girlfriends, like full featured
Future
replicas.
world.
Like
We're
yeah,
here.
yeah, well, yeah, and it's in that world. Basically, a guy sees a woman and decides that she's his perfect like creation. So he starts to stalk her and like he thinks she's a prompt. He can't tell. He thinks that she's a replicant for this other guy. So he's trying to figure out like how to make her basically. And yeah, it's I have very dim feelings about AI, especially with relationships and stuff. Honestly, for the same reasons. I mean, part of the thing that freaked me out was that like as I saw these like people sort of creating, they were spending all day in this like thing back when AI was like first coming out, these like images stuff, they were spending all day like trying to refine their like prompt to generate their exact like woman that they wanted in a picture or guy that they wanted a picture. And I was like, that can't be healthy. It's like, because it's like you're never going to meet like someone who's like, they would literally put like 6'1" blonde, like curly hair, like green eyes, like like Swedish looking expressive eyes, like, and they had to like construct this weird language because of the way the AI stuff works. So I was like, that can't be healthy. I was like, that can't be good. That can't be healthy. And I didn't think that was going to lead to good stuff. And then 2 years later, now I'm re-releasing it because part of what I did was included AI art as like, but it was all bad. Like I just found like bad AI art because I was trying to make the point that like none of this stuff's going to be good for anybody. But then to your point, now I had problems like in the intervening years, 2 years, I want to re-release it, but I was like, I don't feel comfortable with using any of this AI stuff. Cause like, to your point, it's like by doing that, it means that someone didn't create it. And to your point about the process, it's like, I don't want to remove that from society, even in the act of criticizing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even in the act of like, I like effectively even for doing something like using it to criticize it, like, it means that I'm not hiring someone like Mari Robeson to make like a fake AI thing that's like trying to be critical of it. And that removes the opportunity for it to be surprising to me as a filmmaker person or whatever. And it also removes the opportunity for you to work on it. So instead what I'm doing is I got like this very cool artist who draws pretty horrifying stuff to like redo the AI montage, because it's like,
I love that.
I just don't think it's ethical anymore. Like I don't think any part of that, it's not what I want to do.
I think, how do we figure that out? We're making films and we're like, it all of a sudden comes this magnificent tool. This just kind of drops down and you're like, oh, it seems like it would be so good. But then, I have all my artist friends and all my writer friends and like everything's scraped and you're like, well, this is really sickening. This makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, I've been knocked off before by people. And then to have people come and have AI knock off your artwork that you have up on the internet, it's so violating, as an artist. And, but what can you do? It's been done. And so here we are. So,
start a religious movement, the new Luddites. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
The new what?
The new like the Luddites. Like I think that term, like they were some type of anti-technology movement, like in the 1900s or something. But yeah, I think it just needs, honestly.
And you're so good with names and things. That's wonderful.
I appreciate that. I wish I was good with other things. I wish I could draw or do other stuff.
Well, we all have our things, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting when you say like the I made a video a little while back about the nature of media, and like it was honestly about CGI, about in general, like I don't like my feelings on CGI and AI is like not more CGI, less AI, but like I don't like, I prefer when people do practical stuff. That's one of the reasons I love your movie. I just love looking at it over and over. There's just something, it just scratches some part of my brain that's like, I'm explaining to someone who who did it, literally made the thing, so you probably know 100 times that feeling. But phenomenologically, the medium of CGI to me it does all these like sort of weird things and like kind of bad things, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on filmmakers, like because you can sort of plan stuff out in advance, like less in advance, and you can like have it later in the process, and that gives like a more, I don't know, I think it like centralizes control in the hands of like executives or money people a lot, filmmaking wise, and I think that doesn't lead to a bad thing, or it doesn't lead to good things. So I'd be curious, like, you are an artist that is working in, it seems like 7 mediums. You've done painting, interior design, now stop motion, writing, even like you could say posting YouTube video, like YouTube as a medium or whatever else.
Oh.
So was there anything like particularly surprising that you learned in sort of like working with the stop motion, that given that this is your first thing, that you just didn't expect? Like, was there anything like really weird about the process, like of working with that as a medium, like, and doing it and like bring it to creative fruition?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. It was definitely patience for me. I'm not a patient person, so that was a really challenging thing. But I felt it as it feels very magical to me. I just felt like, seeing something. I don't know if you're going to be showing this, what you have up on there, but like I put that in black and white, and then it comes to life, and like just seeing that happen is like, I get a little like, oh, that's like, it feels so, to me, I don't know how it will translate to people who watch it, but
to me it did. Yeah, absolutely.
it just has this like, all of a sudden this like, it came to life and it started moving, and it's, the story is being told, and it was kind of fun. I don't know. I think when I was done with it, it was so hard. It was so challenging, and I went, I can't wait to do this again. So
was it, as an interior designer, like someone with a lot of, like, I imagine it seems like there might have been a certain freedom with being able to do this. Like, were some of these interiors and stuff, did you feel a sense of freedom as like, I finally get to cook, like budget, like no, don't need to consider budget or like taste of the client or like anything else, like,
yeah, I mean, always. I mean, I was really fortunate with my career. I actually got to a point where people would say, we love what you do, just do it. And I got to design restaurants and do things where they just trusted me. But
cool.
Obviously, you're working, there's always restraints, there's budget, there's the craftsmen people that you have to work with. Like, there's a lot of different things that you're pulling together when you're building a house. It's so similar to making a film. It's almost like, it's almost identical. I mean, the process from the beginning to the end is very similar to filmmaking, which that kind of surprised me. I didn't realize that was going to be such a similarity, but this, it was total freedom, which is why I also chose to self-publish my book, because I want to illustrate it the way I want to illustrate it, and I want to tell the story the way I see the story, and I don't want to wait. I'm very impatient, if you haven't figured that out by now. Like, I want to finish it. I want to get it done, even though this process has been like this whole journey I've been on, like working on the book, working on the screenplay, working on a short film, working back on the book, illustrating this. And like, I could show you right now, I have hundreds of illustrations that aren't going to make it into the book, that are just, in my studio. And now I'm seeing the background of my studio is such a mess. And you just keep saying you're an interior designer. I'm like, this is my one space. That's kind of crazy. But,
a studio, like, that's with my books. Like, this is the nice stack of books and movies that I normally have like by my desk. So, like, there's more off screen. There's like, the difference between like a working space of an artist or someone and like what they actually produce is always, I always find it's like it's always crazy. I always have to take like
I love going into an artist's studio. I mean, but mine is literally like, you could spend hours in here. There's so many little little things that are everywhere. But anyway, the rest of my house is clean, I promise.
No, the rest of my house is not. So you're doing better at that than me. The rest, I live with 3 other guys, and
fun.
It's fun in a lot of ways. Cleanliness is not like just our highest priority a lot of the time.
Priorities, different.
Priorities, yeah. So I did want to ask, one thing that sort of called out to me in the story was, story-wise, that like she was like the idea of sort of beauty and aging. So I was
Mm-hmm.
curious, like, you know, I don't want to spoil it for the viewers, but beauty and aging are sort of themes in there. Are
Mm-hmm.
those things that like are very close to you, like when thinking about this, or things that you've sort of thought a lot about, sort of artistically? Like, you know, you're a designer and you're working within us. Obviously, like the visual presentation of stuff, and like obviously is something you've been thinking about for years and years. But I guess like the feelings behind the story, like were those ones that you were really wanting to explore?
Right. So I'm actually really glad that you tapped into that. So basically, in the book, uh, there are trapped souls within the etheric grounds of the mansion, and everyone basically, though, is trapped by their own core wound.
Mm,
So Eve's wound is her vanity. She's raised her whole life. You're beautiful. It's the 1800s, and that's all women were worth back then.
right.
You were a commodity that was going to be married off. So she's beautiful. She's beautiful. And then she gets told that maybe you're not going to always be that way. And she makes a rash decision. But we kind of, as society, we also do that to women. Like,
Mm,
as soon as you get older, you seem to just fade away and disappear, unless you do all the plastic surgery and you're doing all these things, and you basically sell your soul to be this creature for what? For
yeah.
external validation, but
Yeah.
isn't what you should be doing internally validating. So those themes of the core wounds, that they all kind of, all the characters kind of represent their own wound that they
Mm.
have to work through. And
That has.
she's one of my favorite characters,
Yeah.
especially in the book. And I also can't wait for the second book that I'm writing, because that family in this particular story has quite an adventure in the second book. So I
Mm. That has a
can't believe
long
it.
history, I think, in Hollywood too. I mean, Sunset Boulevard is the one I always think about. Like that's like one of the from 1950, like the sort of idea of like the aging woman in sort of like the Gothic mansion, right? I mean, I guess that's
I
probably
can
goes
have
back
to,
even past than
I'll
that.
write that
But
down too. What's it
oh,
called?
Sunset Boulevard.
Huh.
Oh, Sunset Boulevard. That's a you'll love it. That was one of David Lynch's favorite movies.
Oh, wow.
One of everybody's. The reason I'm 90% sure the reason he called it Mulholland Drive is because Sunset Boulevard and Mulholland Drive are like two of the bigger roads I think that go through like Beverly Hills, like
Hmm.
Los Angeles, Hollywood
Hmm.
type area.
Oh, yeah, it's a big
Um,
road. Hmm.
yeah, but in terms of like beauty, yeah, it's about a film star from the 1920s who is sort of aged out of Hollywood, and then like a writer. It's like a film noir writer kind of comes to her house, and she tries to rekindle her career and also sort of like regain a little bit of her lost youth. But it's also an interesting movie within a movie because the lady that they got to play her in 1950 was herself a former like star who aged out of Hollywood, and this was like a big comeback for her. And it's a tremendous performance. Yeah, this did. There's so much about. I mean, I could like literally go frame by frame. How long? So you said this. You did this in 6 months, more or less.
Oh, no,
Was that the
I mean, I filmed it in about, it probably took me about 6 weeks
6 weeks? Oh wow.
to film it all. Yeah.
How
But I
long
had
was that?
been
Was like
building,
pre-production? Like I'm
pre-production was
thinking.
a couple of years. I mean, building the house took months. I mean,
Yeah, that's. I was curious because like this shot, like just like all these little books and the little like flowers and the little flower pots and everything. It's
right.
like
And they're
each
all
one of these would take me a
intentional.
week.
Like all of that stuff is intentional. I'm going to give away a clue. So, and you see, like in the beginning when they first come in, there's really not much on the bookshelves. But then,
Mm,
as they get older, there's more on the bookshelves. Yeah, I thought about a lot of things doing it. But that's the fun part. I think I mentioned to you, like I loved the movie Sixth Sense, how you watch the whole film and then at the end you realize, well,
mm,
spoiler, but you realize like he's actually dead. And then you're like, I have to go watch it again because now I have that context and I want to watch it again knowing that part of it. But that I love when things are, you have to figure them out. I don't want to hand
yeah.
over, here's the story. I want you to see yourself in the story and figure it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. there's so many another great one I could recommend, the Innocents, although that's a very from 1961. That is a very horrifying movie, I will say. But it's another sort of lady trapped in a kind of trap. She's like the governess of these two British students. It's a very, very horrifying movie, but the way they it's like the most horrifying movie. I think it's like, but environmental wise, like they have these motifs. If you look in any of the background of like any of the shots, it's like it's a lot about sort of like eating the young, like not to get too macabre, but like they have like harpies and like birds and like all these like things that are just like in the images that they have in the background are very, very, very highly detailed. You know, that's one thing I appreciate about I think stuff like this this film and your movie and the attention to detail in the background. That is something that I don't, speaking of the AI, that you would not get with AI, right? Is that, you know, because if you're just the prompt that you would put in there of like, you know, generate, if you were to try and put this in AI, it's like, you know, generate a scene that's like with a picture of two kids, you know, in a house or something like that. It's like they wouldn't have the intention behind. They might get some of like, they might be able to generate, you know, the center frame, not to the level that you did, but they might be able to like, you know, roughly have a picture of two kids. But the care from scene to scene and all the Easter eggs and stuff, I think it's like a rewatchability thing, right? Like, you know, I'm excited to watch it and then read it and then watch it again, because you'll get to see all those. It's more depth, you know.
It's like I Spy, you know.
Yeah.
It's like looking into the book. Also, yeah, I feel like I am human. I like human movement. I like jitterness. I like when things feel like somebody molded this with their hands, and I like that corner is not perfect, and that the shells are a little crooked. AI would make it perfect, and I feel like CG, obviously that changed the game for a lot of filmmaking, but when things became too perfect, it kind of loses the human touch to it, the essence of it. And even some stop motion now doesn't even look like it's stop motion. It's so perfect. And I mean, I have a lot to learn along the way of how to do stop motion, but I don't mind the little jitteriness to things. I actually put those things in there on purpose. So it would set me apart from being AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I see a place for AI. I do think it can be helpful for many things, but I just don't want people to stop creating for themselves. It makes me think of the movie Spirited Away. You know, it's such a beautiful movie, but like where their parents are just like eating the slop. It's just like, we can't just let ourselves go and let something else do the creating. You can use it as a sounding board or whatever, but you should do the creating because it's the fun part. I mean, that's what we're here. We're creators. That's what we're here to do. And yeah, it does take extra long. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it took a long time to write a novel, because I would stare at a paragraph for hours sometimes, like, and rewrite a sentence over and over and over again. It's one of those things, but then, you know, you put your work in and then you get it and you're like, oh, that's satisfying. So satisfying, you know.
I think that comes through. I think it comes through in there's so much like that is communicated within a, you know, piece of art or medium that is unspoken, that can't be spoken, right? Like it's like when you do a painting, it's like you're putting, it can only be expressed as that painting, whatever idea is in that painting, right? And the things that go along with that. Yeah, I think more and more I'm loving just watching the behind the scenes and like all the choices that people make. Honestly, right before this interview, I was watching one on the movie Phantom Thread, and they were talking, you would love it as an interior designer, but they were talking about the cinematography and the lighting and the designing. But they were talking about the wallpaper of the character, and they're like, they got this person to paint this wallpaper for this house, and they're like, when we tested it, it's like it really just didn't match the character, and so we actually just wallpapered over it. So it's like hopefully someday someone will take down the wallpaper and like find these beautiful painting that this person did. But they were even talking about like a teapot. They're like, the thing that they when they were doing their camera tests is that they're like, the thing that they didn't like the most is like, they were like, this teapot doesn't belong in this house. And it was like that level of detail is like, you can see. Yeah,
I watched
this
a
helps it.
movie last night too, where like one of the characters in the stories was an artist, but she gave it up to kind of fit into suburbia mom. And so the house, like she's in the living room, she's trying to rearrange the living room so it looks like suburbia. But then, she goes through her own character arc in the story. And at the end of the story, she embraces herself as an artist, and the living room has got all her paintings back in it and stuff. And it's really kind of that is a level to detail that I don't think people, when watch a movie, they know that that's like a subliminal context that's kind of going on behind the scenes, that's giving you information about who this character is. And I mean, I'm obsessed with filmmaking now. I think the thought that goes into stuff and all the little subtle things like you're talking about make it so much more enjoyable.
So what's next? So I mean, are you going to do another one after this? Like, are you planning to do more stop motion or more novels, more films?
I do. I mean, I really want to make the book a feature film, and it probably wouldn't be like a 90-minute because it's stop motion. But the film My Life as a Zucchini.
I've not seen that.
Oh, it's another great stop motion film. One of my favorites. I'll send it to you. But it's a shorter film, and just kind of the vibe of it. I really liked the vibe of that particular stop motion, and I can see my film. I do a lot of plays on the theater. It's in the book. It's like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, but like literally like the drapes, the red velvet drapes, which you see a bit of it in the beginning and the ending of this short film of the theater that I made out of paper mache. Yeah. And that the theater kind of represents, life is theater, life is a show. And
all the world's a stage, right? That's
all the world's a stage. And I want to do the feature in that way, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So I might do something where I release them, one at a time. But I don't know. I'm just like I'm just focused on finishing the book and getting this out there, and then I'll probably take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if anyone's earned it.
Yeah. The second book is really spinning in my brain right now, and I've got note cards and I'm journals of like what that book is, and that's going to be more of like, you have what's on the screen, more of an epic sea adventure. So that's going to be fun too.
Very cool. I love the way stop motion looks in with the ocean. And just like with water, I don't know. There's something about, I feel like a lot of stop motion films that I've seen have water. And like a lot of I just love this sort of the old school, I don't know, the aesthetic of it, and just the way it sort of, they represent motion just fits it so well.
It's nostalgia. I think that's, I was going for that. So I'm happy that you picked that up. I like that too. Yeah. So, we talk about like not AI, but like this particular frame is, shot the theater, and then the video is done on a down shooter with the boat going through it, but then it's cut out in After Effects. I mean, so AI is in there, I'm sure After Effects is AI at some point. I'm sure that's what it uses. It's on the back end.
It is a hard dividing line, because like there are like certain, the way that like, I think like the algorithms that they use or whatever, the technology for like, cutting things out and making things, like if you need to like do compositing or other stuff, they definitely use some type of AI in that. But there's like I don't know, it is a hard line, because there is like some, it's not, you're not like, none of this is like being generated, right? Like, it's not like a prompt like that you're saying, like,
right?
Make me a boat or something,
no.
Which is,
oh heck no.
Yeah. That's the weird thing. It's like
paper mache, and then shot on a down shooter, and then that image is, the video is behind the drapes. So it's all done.
That's where it gets to the religion thing for me, because like I need a list of rules, or I want a list of rules.
Right.
Like, compositing, it's like, I feel like on a natural level, I mean, you and I both, it seemed like, it's like not really an issue with that. I mean, that's just like helping do this thing. But like generating, it's like, it's like, I kind of have a visceral. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think early on I took one of my paintings, and I had AI move her, and it freaked me out so hard. It looked so creepy. I was just like, no, I don't like that. Yeah. And that's when I was like, I'm doing this all by hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
This is
uncanny.
where Laura, see, I don't want to say her name wrong, but this is where I was influenced by her. I wanted to
Mm.
create that shadow of the suitors that came up to her.
The lighting on this is beautiful. Yeah, I can see this. There's actually the picture that they use on Wikipedia. Actually, I bet you that it's like the same reference point. If I can it's kind of,
Yeah.
if you ignore the
Isn't that
plus, but yeah,
beautiful?
it's so beautiful.
So
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's so wonderful. I love the light. How did you, out of curiosity, just as a nerd, how did, like, is this like a, were you lighting the backdrop here? Because like that seems like the way she sort of lit with the backlight behind her is so nice with like the nice purple swirler, I guess pink
So
and white
that
swirl.
is, do you want me to show you? I can actually show you.
It's totally up to you.
That,
Yeah.
so this is just a watercolor paper, right?
Mm.
And I just painted this, and then I laid it on top of a light table. And so it's done on a downshooter. And then so you have the light, and then you have the paper, and
Mm.
then you have another piece of glass, and it has the black silhouette that I cut out. And then I
Oh.
have another piece of glass where I have the character and the two front pieces on there.
Oh
And
wow.
then so the woman and the man that come in, they're on the second layer. They're down here on this layer,
Mm.
or like this. So it's
Very cool.
it's a process.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of playing around to like get the lighting right, and also you have to be really careful with flicker with stop motion, because if there's any like a cloud going by, like you have to have everything blacked out. Otherwise,
Mm.
because you're shooting 24 frames in 1 second, and you know it'll gap the light, and then you'll start getting flickering. I mean, I had to trash a lot of things until I just blacked out everything.
Mm.
It was a process.
I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, the results are so tremendous, though. I
Thank
mean, just
you.
like it's, yeah, the very, I love the symmetry in all of it too. I mean,
I love
that's
symmetry.
very,
I'm a
yeah,
symmetry designer. Even in houses and stuff, I always designed very symmetrically. Not for everybody, but for me, it's very
very
comforting.
Wes Anderson coded.
No, it's
Yeah.
very Mari Robeson. I
Where
was doing
Mars,
it
I'm sorry.
before Wes Anderson was doing it when I was designing houses. So,
Yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be,
I mean, Wes Anderson, yeah, he shoots a lot of things right on that center. And
yeah.
I don't feel, do you feel like you felt like that when you were watching my film? It doesn't feel,
I think some of the shot, it's hard, that's a great, um, honestly, when I say that sometimes it's more, I feel like he is overused. I think as a reference point. I think, and I overuse him as a reference point. Some of it is deliberate. I think because it's like he's like the one. His aesthetic sense is like he's one of the few unique people that is still allowed to make movies in like a very stylized and aesthetic way, and just like the symmetry of it. So I tend to overuse him a lot as a comparison point, just because like for me, I'm speaking with I think my audience. I do have a lot of film nerds in the audience, but a lot of it is like people who are I'm trying to get into film, I guess, more, or like if I have like a agenda or something on the point. So I tend to overuse him a lot as like a reference point. But I think like just honestly, he's so in vogue generally that anytime I see like some symmetry, I think like, oh, that's like kind of Wes, like symmetry and stop motion. It's like Wes Anderson. Or honestly, anytime you see stop motion, a lot of it's like, oh, that's very, very Wes Anderson coded.
well, a lot of it has to do with the sets. And
Mhm.
you don't have, because you're shooting at this wide, it's wide. So if
Mhm.
I were to turn the camera this way, I'm going to get this corner of my studio. So even the house, like I tried to do some shots where I was coming in on the side and I'm getting,
Mm.
the side of my studio with all my other stuff back there. So some of it is just, I had to shoot it that way because that was the best way I could grab all the imagery without getting things I didn't want in there
Yeah.
too. So
It honestly, like, yeah, I like, I think more Carl Zeman. It reminded me most of, I will say, especially like with like the old, because my reference point for him is Invention for Destruction, the one he did that's in black and white that I really quite love, but especially because like there's a lot of like boat there's a lot of boat and water stuff in there, and the way he uses that is very, I just love it. But Wes Anderson is like himself was like very, very influenced by that movie and him in particular. And I think like some of it is like, let me see if I can pull over some of the, I don't know if you've seen that one. Oop,
No, I don't even know who that is. So yes.
He is he did you'd love him. This is kind of hard.
I love that.
Yeah,
Oh.
he did he is
I love that.
yeah, so he's a Czech guy. There's a Carl
Oh
Zeman
yeah,
museum.
yeah. He's the one that did all the tricks with yes, I know who
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, so you might have like, I think Jules Verne is the one that people see a lot of them, but
Yeah, Carl Zeman. Yeah.
yeah, I can't, I
Albert.
don't know if it's Carl or Carol. I can never get it right.
Oh.
But he did Invention for Destruction, which I really quite loved.
I need
But a
to
lot of the sort of Wes Anderson aesthetic that people say goes back to him. And honestly, I think because of some of the, like, I think maybe the time period, maybe some of the costumes and like some of the sort of more ornate stuff that's in this movie, like this, like felt like something, I don't know if you can see that, but that like felt like something that that almost could be in this is not, obviously is like asymmetrical, but like the ornateness of it reminded me of some of the stuff in your movie, which I really, and honestly,
1000%.
yeah,
I'm
it's like
sure.
a attention
I'm
to
sure
detail,
I
I
like
guess.
lived in that time period. There's something about I'm completely drawn to. This is all very French architecture, and I'm completely obsessed with it. It's I don't know if that was like Rococo period or looks kind of Rococo, but and the floors and the castle and the background. Oh my God, I love all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if you, this one in particular, for your next thing, because you're a painter, honestly, I don't know if you did any matte paintings, but or if you're familiar. Yeah. The matte paintings in this movie, like I believe, honestly, all this architecture up at the top is a matte painting, like that.
Huh.
Like it's a big. I think like the way it's impossible to know what's what in this movie in terms of like matte painting versus set versus practical design, because like they'll often have it in like, this is like in this shot they composited the heads on, and this is like a stop motion animation that they have on the thing, and they just like composited the heads on, but they also composited real smoke on there. But then like they'll splice that in with a shot next where it's like, this is half a set, but most of this is matte painting, and then there's like the rocks are matte painted, but then this is compositing in the background with this, and then this is a painted background in a separate shot, and then this is like a painted like backdrop, and then like all this type of stuff they're doing, like and they'll go like they'll shoot these guys like these are just painted guys right here, but then they'll shoot them in the next scene like shot with like in an actual balcony like that, and so you just can never tell
That's
what's
exactly how my brain thinks. And hands like that. I mean, I'm obsessed. This is amazing, and especially the whole water thing, because that's the second book is kind of what I'm getting into on that. Ah, wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tremendous. I love this guy so much.
I mean, isn't that just amazing? That's just art. It's so creative, and it's just so like unique and stylistic, and like that's the stuff we should be making.
Yeah,
I mean, it's stuff I should be making.
absolutely.
But
Yeah, and like
with my own flavor to it. Like if you knew my art, like if you saw my paintings and things, and you would see that the stop motion is very much my art. Just my art's just like animated. So, yeah, that's just
100%.
so. And so, like when you were talking about those layers, like that's something in stop motion that I like a lot, is using the down shooter to be able to. It's a multi-plane, and that's how you can get those really cool effects.
Yeah,
So great. Mm.
yeah, I love it. So yeah, I would say apologies for the Wes Anderson, but it's definitely Mari
Oh no,
Robeson.
I'm kidding. That's an enormous compliment. Like I'm not. It was just something that I never thought about, and I guess my whole life, as an interior designer, I'm a very symmetrical designer. Like if you looked at any of the houses I've done or restaurants, they're very symmetrical, because it's very comforting. to have symmetry. Asymmetry is, and if it's, especially if it's not done correctly, is very off-putting and uncomfortable to be in that space that's like that. So I think my interior design obviously spilled into the set design when was doing all of that.
I love it. I honestly just love looking at it. It's like,
And
that's
even like these paintings, the drapes, like I painted that. That's just
beautiful.
that is just butcher paper, and I just painted it and then crumpled it and kind of mushed it together, and just it's not precious. It's just paper. So sometimes I have to rip it apart, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, yeah, every all the little texture stuff in this. I mean, I love every, like, even, the little texture pieces, like in the little painting, like just the way, like on the little walls here, like the sort of the way that the paint is on all of them. The stained glass, like the representation of stained glass. This is such beautiful stained glass you made here.
Well, thank
Just
you.
with like to your point about like the like sort of beautiful imperfection, like just like the scratch, like it's just that's what real stained glass is, right? It's like it's beautifully imperfect with like all its like like dust or lines or like anything else like this. And yeah, I mean, that's just like, I could just stare at this shot for hours. Either way, like kind of
It took a lot of experimenting, and that's just watercolor on it's a textured paper that's plain, and then it was watercolor, and I tried a lot of different things to get windows. Oh, windows are so hard to make because you can use plastic, but then if you have plastic, then there's a reflection, and I was happy with the way that finally ended up.
Yeah. Every shot, like, yeah, the depth on these, and then I did love, like going from the 2D to the 3D as well. I love that choice.
See, it wasn't a choice. It was all I had. I mean, I would love to have had her be a 3-dimensional armature, puppet, but I didn't have access to creating all of that. The next film, I will definitely try to do that.
It looks great. I mean, like, even like with it, like it gives it, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's to your point about the choice not being like if it's all you have, or like the problem solving of it, right? It's like, this is a solved problem, but I loved all this stuff. And,
well, I appreciate that. The thing that was great about that too is like, oh, I need her looking down, like right there. I need her to look down. So then I would just go paint that really fast, instead of like, I mean, I should show you all the faces of Eve. I have like so many of them because I would just paint them all in different ways. But like I didn't, her mouth doesn't move. So sometimes she's talking and the mouth isn't moving, which part of me kind of liked, but also kind of wished I had, animated the mouths too. But then you start getting into it's a whole nother level. And
yeah. Even just like the process, the medium by which you animate this stuff. I mean, I'm assuming this is like a type of pin here, like on her shoulder.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
And that's to hinge her joint. Is that the reason?
Yeah.
But like just even like the looking at it and sort of, as you imbibe it as a viewer, like the representation of it, of an arm, and like you're moving your joints is sort of like as a puppet. I don't know, just like makes you think about your own relationship with the body and like, your own. That is another type of thing that, you just, with the real stuff you get, I mean, just the way people artists and, have to represent movement of and recreate a form that's not the form, it's like,
right.
Just weird to think about. Yeah. I never think of, you never think about your arm as having like a hinge, like, effectively that we're a puppet, right? But that is kind of what we are.
Right.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah. All those anchor points, and you learn those when you have to draw a human figure. You're like kind of how it starts structurally too, but those are like little tiny brads, and I like seeing those things. That's why I could have probably gone in and photoshopped them out of every single frame, but I personally like seeing them.
I love them. Because that's part of her. I mean, that would make the character would feel less real, I think, right? With those, I think they would feel, because like on one level, it's like this is a like, you know, just watching it, you kind of disappear into like, oh, this is a character, and she is like, it's either she is a real character or she is a 2D character that's just a real, like, there is a soul inside this 2D character. But then she would have Brad's because she's a puppet. Like, how else is she? She doesn't have muscles or anything else, right? So, yeah.
It's so weird because when you work with these characters, like they do come to life for you. Like I'm alone in my studio talking to them.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing.
One level below cats. You know, cats are obviously, you know, I'm talking to my cats constantly. I can't see my cats without talking to them.
Well, you're going to love my book because her shadow is a cat. Oh, you see it at the end of the film. You'll see the cat, and the cat shadow in the book is quite funny. I mean, obviously I drew a lot from my cat, who is my shadow. So
very cool. Yeah, I love that. I love the is this the one you're that is
she shows up in it. You see when at the end when Cassandra is standing in front of the gate and the ears go up and the thing comes out, that's her shadow. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. There's
and
so
that
many
whole
of these.
background back there is all done with like pastels and just on butcher paper. Like I said, nothing's precious. Like everything was like in fact I made a lot of the sets out of my cat food boxes.
Really?
Yeah, just like Amazon boxes and like, you know, whatever I had. I'm like, oh, this is a yogurt cup. This will make a great urn.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
You've got to make a TikTok video about that. That is.
I know, I do.
If you don't, I will. I mean, cat talk, you know, is so big that they'll love, you know.
Yeah, there's Shadow. I love Shadow. Shadow's funny.
I love that. That also is that. I mean, that reminds me so much of those old. When we were talking, mentioned Svankmajer, the one I had watched. You know, he used a lot of. I think it's called Meat Love, which I really loved.
Meat Love.
Yeah, it's just like a 1 minute stop motion thing that he did about. It's really beautiful, but like these two pieces of meat, it's stop motion. They get like this piece of meat's like looking in the mirror, and it's like these two steaks, and this other one like, and they just like they have a date basically, and then they, you know, it's like, oh, he sees her, then she like covers up with a towel, like the lady piece of meat. It's so good, and then it's a 1 minute short film, and then they just sort of like have a little dance, and it's very romantic. And then they cover themselves in flour and and jump into the skillet. And that's just the movie. It's just like them having a date to get cooked. But I mean, you know, I loved about his work is that he used all that. So the idea of using like cat food boxes and everything, I mean, that is just so cool. I always loved how he used such real. I haven't seen. I mean, this is still a technique like that I haven't seen many filmmakers follow up on, is like using real stop motion animation, like human beings, and the way he would use it, not necessarily with paper, but just with like real objects. So cat food boxes as urns is tremendous.
Oh, well, no, those are yogurt cups. I made urns.
Yogurt cups, I'm sorry.
Cat food boxes are in the walls somewhere, I'm sure.
Very cool.
A very good texture of cardboard that they come in. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. I appreciate all your kind words because I don't know. Nobody's seen this, so I don't know if people are going to think, that's a bunch of junk.
I mean, I don't know how people would think that would be crazy to me, but yeah, I mean, even if you can watch this like sound off even and just admire the visuals of it just purely. However, saying that, you should keep the sound on because the narration is great and the score is tremendous.
Oh my gosh, the narration and the score, like they are truly professional. And I narrate. That was a whole other thing too, getting into like narration and stuff because. Talk about AI. I was like, I really wanted to try to get into this one festival I wanted to get into that I didn't get into, but that was kind of the deadline for me. So I was trying to finish this really quickly. Plus I knew I had the next couple of months to illustrate the book. So I was like really crunching to get it done. And I kind of felt it should be like more of a Lemony Snicket kind of narration kind of a thing. But so I put it in AI and I was like, Oh God, that's so, I think it was like 11 labs or something. I was like, I don't like, no, I did all of this by hand. I'm not going to have AI narrate this. And then I had my husband narrate it. And I was like, oh, I love you, honey, but that's not right. And then I did it. And it was like, I could look at him looking at me and I'm like, okay, that's not right. And then I had Douglas, I asked Douglas to do it, who did the music. I'm like, he's doing the music and everything, of course. And I was like, well, that's good. But then their partner did it. And I was like, I listened to it one time and I said, don't change it. I'm smiling ear to ear. This is not what I expected. And I love it. And just keep that. And
Yeah.
so and actually it was Douglas who said you should have the narration be, well, first he said the protagonist of my book, but I was like, no, she wouldn't be there, but the owl would be there. So, because the owl follows her for centuries, and it would make sense that the owl would be there. Another clue. I just gave away another clue, but
The owls are not what they seem. Very Lynchian clue. I like that.
yeah, owls are, they travel between realms, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another favorite character of mine in the book. Oh, yeah.
Love
The
that.
owl reminds me a lot of a lot of references to my dad in the book. The house too is a reference to my dad. My dad was a World War II vet, and the summer before he passed away, he finally started talking about the war. Like he never would talk about it. And he was telling me about, you're going to appreciate this, tying it into the movies. He would tell me that when he lived in New York, and he was like 17 or something, and everybody went into the army. You either went to the army or you went to the mafia. And so he went to the army, and they send you to a boot camp for 2 weeks, and you go to this house. Well, the house that he went to and inspired the house in my story was Bobby Burke's house, Glenda the Good Witch. And she was married to Ziegfeld Follies guy. And it was called Burke Manor, which is why I end up calling this Burke Manor. Because my dad told me about this story about how they go and they basically, you live in this house for 2 weeks, they give you a machine gun, you go in the backyard, you shoot the gun, and then they say, good, qualified to shoot a machine gun, send him off to the Philippines, and he's off to World War II. But he told me about this house, and the house doesn't exist anymore, but there are a few pictures still left online, and it just inspired everything about it for me. And the trees and stuff. And there is a story actually in my book that is a true story about my father and what happened to him in the war. So it's kind of neat. But Bobby Burke, there you go. Glenda, the original Glenda the Good Witch.
Yeah, my family's all from that area. My grandpa grew up in Brooklyn as well.
Say my mom's from Brooklyn.
Yeah. And he flew. He actually, oh God, you would actually probably really appreciate the picture. I can never find this picture of him, but he was actually in Life magazine because his job was to fly in planes. I believe he flew in planes over Africa and other stuff and mapped it. And so they would either get pictures and he would be drawing it, but he was a geologist. And so he would be sitting on these room size, the size of your studio maps of Africa, and he'd be drawing in the mountains and all this other stuff and topographical representations for the generals and everything was his thing. But that was in Brooklyn, when I lived in Park Slope in the brownstone, they had this beautiful crown molding. So I always loved that. The architecture style, I think they didn't know when the building was built. I think it was we lived on the 5th floor of a 5-story walk-up, which I don't recommend if you're not as good as climbing stairs. I was not good at climbing stairs, and 5th floor walk-ups are tough.
Especially with your groceries, it's not fun.
Yeah, groceries, and it was a lot. But there was this beautiful crown molding, and just the whole architecture of it was very, the symmetry and everything else. So he had I don't know what the windows are called, but the sort of semicircle, kind of jutting out windows.
Was there a turret on the front?
Yeah, kind of turret bay window. I don't know if the bay windows or whatever they're called, but it was gorgeous. So
wow,
love all this architecture stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously love architecture. I actually married an architect too. So I designed and built my house. We're actually in my attic is where my studio is. So this is my lovely kind of unfinished attic that I do
Very
all my
cool.
crazy stuff in.
Yeah, and that's short film advice, actually, not necessarily to you, but to like anybody. Um, find a nice place, find a well designed place to film in, and you will save so much money on lighting and everything. I actually filmed at this place. You might appreciate this, called the Daniel House in Knoxville. I think it's called the Daniel House. Yeah, the Daniel House. So this is where I filmed. It's a mid-century modern gem. You can rent it on Airbnb and stuff, which I did. The ladies,
Wow,
I think
look
she
at
still owns it.
that.
Very nice. But it was I
Wow.
can't remember who designed it, but like when I saw this, I was like, it's a now on the historic places, and I was like, oh, I saw these pictures. I was like, oh well, this is perfect. This just gives me a set. And so, I saw this thing, and like, there's a lot of tunnel
It
metaphors
almost
and
looks like a boat, the interior
yeah.
of, you know.
I think he was like inspired by, actually, speaking of World War II, I think he was inspired by like World War II. From what I remember when reading about it, he was inspired by, I think, World War II, like mass housing, like the sort of like aluminum or like whatever buildings that they would throw up for the
Mhm,
army, and
mhm.
also I think Native American architecture in like America. And
Yeah, I
so,
mean, there's a little
yeah.
Frank Lloyd Wright influence in that for sure with the stacked
Oh
stones
yeah,
and kind of the harmony with the nature all around it.
yeah,
This actually, that interior looks very familiar.
yeah. It's beautiful, but it was just like, instead of like,
Did you film there?
we did, yeah. And so the
Wow.
lighting on it, like especially at night, was just like, I just kind of turned most of the lights on in the house, and they had sort of done, they had done the lighting design for me, honestly, because like I just turned on a lot of the lights, and it's like, oh, this is already lit really well by
Gorgeous.
someone who knows, yeah, who's like a
Yeah.
professional designer and everything
Mhm.
else, and
They had a good
architect.
lighting plan, had a good
Yeah,
designer.
yeah. So like, if
Yeah, the
you're,
highlights are cool.
to your point about lighting that you said at the beginning
That
about like,
barrel vaulted kind of ceiling is not no easy feat to construct either.
yeah, I think yeah,
Wow.
1949.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
really
ended up being perfect for. It was built into the hillside from a salvaged Quonset hut, which I think was, yeah, this was the chorus prefab corrugated. Oh, introduced by the British in World War One. Hundreds of thousands were produced during World War Two. I guess
Yeah, you're right. The United States
these little
Navy needed
huts.
a lightweight purpose building. Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That's so interesting. Is that
yeah.
fascinating? I love that.
Streamlined modern style, I guess, is the Art Deco, and I do love Art Deco, so
Oh
there was a
yeah.
lot of
Art Deco is really cool.
yeah. But that would be my advice if you're any filmmakers out there listening to it.
This was
Find a
a
well
very
designed
awkward
house.
space to space to film in. I have to tell you, I have skylights. I had my husband like screw cardboard up there to block out the light. It was just, well, it wasn't an easy thing. Maybe the next time I'll like actually get funding and do a real
Mm,
studio.
yeah,
But to your point, just make the film, right? Like
yeah,
use what you have and just do it. And I mean, it's not perfect. It's my first film. It's the beginning of my journey in filmmaking, and I hope I get better and better as I go along. I can't imagine, not because I'm learning as I'm going, but yeah,
I'm very
I'm sure
glad to
you're
hear that.
I
That
mean,
you're
how
going to
many
do more
films
of it.
have you made?
I'm sorry.
How many films have you made?
I have made. Depends on how you count them. I made like, so the one I made was 40 minutes, a short, and then I made like a 2.5 minute trailer short, which is like kind of a short film for the film festival the year before, and
Hmm.
then I recut this old Soviet film, which took a lot of time for my buddy's album that he released. This colleague, the guy who did the music for my short, who's like a decent sized like horror video game and movie composer.
Wow.
Um, and so I recut this old like 1930 Soviet movie for that. So I kind of count that. So I guess like three-ish. But then, it's interesting with the TikTok stuff, and you may feel the same. Like I started at the beginning of the year, and I think I like, if I look at my scripts for the like all the like the scripts that I read like when doing it. I think it was the equivalent of like a 350 page novel, because I made like a video a day for like, you know, half the year straight. And so if you think about that, like video wise, I've made like, it's like 600 minutes of like edited video that I've done this year. So
It's
that I will say is
that
helped a
counts
lot.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn a lot about doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so fun. Just doing all, but I'm excited to get back to like seeing stuff like this is very inspiring, because I'm like, dang, I need to get back to doing the TikTok is great and like all that, but like to do this like very fiction like storytelling and all that is, yeah. I'm jealous. I'm so it's like, yeah, it would just look so tremendous, and it is
Oh,
so great. So.
you don't even know like how relieved I am. I'm like, I like sent you like the early cut, and I'm like, I hope he thinks it's okay. Like maybe he won't want to interview me after he sees it.
Oh, not at all. I loved it.
Oh,
Yeah, I seriously, I'm gonna watch it. I can't wait to share it with. I know my audience is gonna love it, and everyone. I think my biggest video is on Carol Zeman, is on Invention for Destruction. I think that's my biggest. So there's an appetite for this stuff tremendously, I think.
yeah, I
Like,
feel like it's almost a backlash to the AI stuff, you know, when people see something handmade. I mean,
yeah.
maybe that's just the way it's going to be moving forward. It's just going to be its own genre, right? AI
Well,
genre. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think so. Well, I think like when I'm excited. I think you're on the precipice or the cutting edge of it, because like I remember reading when photography first came around, I think in the early 1900s, like people were like, well, there's no more paintings. But what happened was the opposite. What happened is it enabled cubism, and it enabled like all the modern art, and enabled like so much more. It enabled people to go freer, because like photographs couldn't do cubism, they couldn't do modern art, they couldn't do X, Y, or Z, and so like stop motion. AI can't do stop motion. I mean,
Oh,
they could like
I do stop motion. I actually have seen it, and it's bothersome. But you're like, you know what?
they can't do it well. They can't do it like you've done it, I will say. I think.
I don't know. All I know is that I feel really lucky to be an artist.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean,
I'm just
well,
gonna make my art, and I'm gonna not worry about what's going on around me,
yeah.
you know?
Well, to your point, it can't do it the way you do it, because you are a human doing it. And I think to your
Right.
like the backlash of it, I think that is going to be the defining thing, is like knowing that people can see the behind the scenes, and they can see this, and they know that you did it, is like that is something that AI can't replicate. They like, because there's no human involved in it. So it's like knowing that you did it is like the differentiator. And so I think like the behind the scenes and all the process stuff, it's one of the reasons I focus on it my channel, is like AI can't fake people actually doing it, if that makes sense. And
It's
I
the
don't think it's
difference
just about
between looking at a hand painted painting and a poster of the painting. It's like, yes, the poster captured the image, but it's flat. There's no soul in it. When you look at the painting, there's brush strokes. You can see layers pulling through. There's life in it. There's
yeah,
intention. There's energy around this. Has energy, and
million percent.
and the intention behind it. And I think as an artist, you are I anyway, I always put intention behind what I'm making and creating. And especially my book is all about healing, and I want it to be helpful. It's like a gift I'm giving the world, you know. Wow.
No,
But
I totally. It is. Yeah, 100%.
and
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't know why that makes me so emotional, but I can't see it. Whenever I see anything AI, I'm like, oh, that's the AI.
Yeah.
Like even the stuff that looks like stop motion, it's missing something, and
Yeah.
it's something energetic. I don't know, and maybe it'll get there. I don't know.
It is the
There's a
gift.
place for it, I'm sure, and I'm not going to say that it would never be something, and it just isn't my something right now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the way of describing it, like I get emotional too about it. Like honestly, it's like it very like, I see that and I'm just like it's just such a wellspring of like, it is a gift, and it's not like it's I think Scorsese when he was talking about like Marvel movies not necessarily being cinema to him, because he was saying it's like not the cinema of like a human being trying to convey like personal psychological experiences to another person. And I think that comes through in this, not just because you made it like with a lot of like handcrafted artistic stuff, but also that you were I can very earnestly see like an attempt to communicate something like, you know, called the beauty and like the aging and like, you know, just like everything else that's in this. So like that is like a I don't think you can fake that. And I do get spiritual with it. Like I do think, I totally agree, there's like an energy around it that's just there. I've noticed even in my TikTok videos, like if I make a video I'm not as excited about, even if I spend the exact amount of time on it and energy, if I'm not as excited about it, it will not do as well, and people will not connect with it as much as something that like I'm very, very passionate and excited about. And I don't know what it is I'm conveying or not, but there's got to be an energy of some kind, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's your excitement, and people want to be excited. They want to feel inspired. They want to feel creative. They want to feel seen in what you're doing. It's like, it's why we make art, you know? And it's funny. I had a friend that I met one time when I was going through this really dark time, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm becoming a somatic therapist." And I was like, "Oh, I just found I'm doing somatic work too. I'm kind of." She goes, "Oh, well, you would only find it if you're trying to heal your trauma." And I was like, "That's such an interesting thing, because I think that people find your work when they're looking for that energy match, like they're looking for themselves in that. They're trying to, stories that we tell, we're discovering ourselves in the stories. I mean, they used to say that, you know, ancient scribes were considered magical because they could write a story and then people could understand who they were by reading the story. And maybe that's the thing that's missing, I think, with AI too. It just copies what a person already did. So if you're originally, and you keep going, like I used to get my artwork would get copied and knocked off, like really knocked off sometimes. And it was so upsetting to me. But then I'd be like, but I'm on to the next thing. It's about the creation. It's not about necessarily always about the making the money on it. It's about like, let's just make stuff. You know, and then it will find the right people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's so anti-marketing stuff that, you know.
I think it's the only way to do it. And honestly, like that's the only way to feel, to your point, if like, you know, I think going back to the very start of the conversation, you know, and I'm mad at myself for even thinking this now, but I was thinking like, oh, this is like, I wonder if she did this as like a great marketing tool for a novel. Like she's a novelist that wanted to do it. But you're like, no, I had these feelings that I wanted to express naturally and honestly, and actually this came first and from the feelings, and that's why it's so good. I don't think it'll be good without wanting to communicate that, you know?
I mean, I kind of wonder if like I didn't get accepted to, you know, the couple of festivals because maybe it did look like a book trailer, and maybe they were like, well, this isn't really a story. And it kind of is a book trailer, I guess, you know, pretty freaking elaborate one. That really the whole meaning behind it was I wanted to teach myself how to make a movie, and I learned it, and I got confident at the end. I realized I have a lot to learn about it, and I still but I know what I have to work on, and I can work on those things, and I don't need to hand this story off to somebody and say, you direct it and put your vision, because how could they? It is my vision and it is my story to tell. So I'll have to just figure out a way, you know, to do that and find the resources, and hopefully the resources will find me too, you know.
It's tremendous. Yeah, I think they will. I hope they will. And, you know, either way, I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to read the book. I'm excited to see what you do next, because it's good to know, and it's just fun to know that there are people doing this. Like, you will have at least one audience, so I will tell you that you'll have at least one.
Yay! You and my
I'll watch it. yeah, I'll get my 3 cats.
Okay, a cat party. I'm so down for a cat party. All my daughters have cats. Well, we'll invite all the cats to the party.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love my cats. I'm definitely I'm a good dog uncle, but I'm a better cat owner. I've figured that out. Like dogs have a lot of responsibility.
Same. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get cats. Yeah.
I hope that more people will make stuff. You know, I hope that they'll see this and they'll be like, I can do that. I can try that. I can take this cat box and make something out of this and make it their own way and tell their own stories. Because everybody has, we should all be creating things. It's healing to do so.
Yeah. Well, Mari, thank you so much for interviewing. I think we sorry
I know.
for keeping you so long. I would like literally go frame by frame of this thing and be like, how did you do that? Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You know, this has been so fun, and I'm so excited to see people watch this, and then, you know, myself to read it and then see everything else. So thank you so much for doing this.
Oh my God,
awesome.
Thank you. This was so generous of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it's generous of you. I'm such a stop motion. I haven't seen as much of it. Like, I'm so excited to watch, as you said, Lottie Reininger.
Oh yes, I mean, she's phenomenal.
Yeah. So this is, and My Life as a Courgette. My Life as a Zucchini,
Yeah.
I guess. So,
That movie will just bring tears to your eyes. It's such a good movie. I love when I watch a stop motion movie and then the writing is so good. Like, the story is just so magical and powerful, and you're just like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
I could watch it over and over again.
Absolutely. So, okay, so let me make sure I have this is October 31st at 9/11 Pacific time. You can see it live on her YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Mari Robeson. That is MariRobeson. You can also go to MariRobeson.com, and I'm sure there'll be links for the movie and then the book and everything else coming soon. The book's out November 11th, called ALCHEMY. Thank you so much.
Thank you.